Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Decentralized Voices podcast. My name is Daria, and today I'm joined by Erica Kang, the founder of KryptoPlanet, organizer of BUIDL Asia and ETHSeoul, and general partner at Black Dragon Capital. In this episode, we dive into the secrets of community building and event management in Web3. Erica will share her experience of being a mom and businesswoman, and we'll find out what actually works to bring more women into the tech field. Enjoy the episode and don't forget to share it with your friends. Erica, I'm excited to have you on Decentralized Voices. Please give a short overview of your background and how did you join the crypto
Everybody,
field?
my name is Erica Kang. Thanks for having me. I'm the founder of KryptoPlanet and previously KryptoSeoul 18, and I joined the crypto space since 2017, which is pretty early. So it's my 10th year, I believe, right now, and it's been quite a ride to be frank. I also hosted a lot of events through KryptoPlanet, such as BUIDL Asia, ETHSeoul, BUIDL Europe, which is coming up in almost a month. A lot of builder breakfasts, Shi-Fi Soul Summit as well. Yeah, and just a really happy community person, builder in the space. Collaborating with different protocols, projects, builders, founders. I also invest these days through Black Dragon Capital, as Daria mentioned, and a lot into AI, robotics, crypto. I joined crypto space in 2017 through a friend who invited me to the seminar, which is a very rare blockchain seminar back then. There was none of this kind back in Seoul. I was happy to explore different sectors because I was working in Korea Telecom back then, which is a big telco company in South Korea. So I knew nothing about it, but I needed transition, some inspiration because I was raising my older two kids actually back then. And so I wanted some sort of career change. And I thought maybe this could just give me some more inspiration, more knowledge. I met a bunch of ICO projects back then who were preparing their first ICO. And that was the era of ICOs, as everyone remembers. And I met the Korean big ICOs back then, like Icon, Mediblock, a lot of Korean OGs would know this. And they tried to hire me from that day because they were it was rare to find a bilingual communicator who can, be the face of pitching to their clients, investors, and so forth. So I was very intrigued to join because I was like, okay, well, this seems like a very blue ocean for me because I was seeking for a new opportunity, a new career, basically starting from scratch. I thought this would be perfect for my new career change. And I took a very bold step forward because leaving my very stable job in Korea Telecom was not easy. Definitely not an easy choice as a mom as well. And since then, I never looked back. So I went deeper, deeper, deeper.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And actually, I had very similar way to crypto. Also in 2017, my friends invited me to help them with a few projects, and then I realized that there were ICO projects, and it sounds really exciting
Yes.
and familiar to me. What was the moment that convinced you that okay, I'm staying in this space? So what did you like the most about
Honestly,
crypto field?
back then it was more scammy than now. It's definitely
Yes,
more legit
it
now
was.
as you have very sophisticated people, very grounded people. That back then it's been most people were scammy, to be honest. 95%. It was very hard to find legit people, really pure-hearted people. It's very hard to find that, as you can also relate. I was not a money-driven person. I was more of a people-driven person and trust-driven person. But on the other hand, if you flip it backwards, that's the rarest asset that you can actually build, right? Because there's lack of trust, lack of people, related relations. I could actually build that in the scene, which is needing, desperate to have that, right? And that's when I realized maybe I can add value to the space. Maybe I can do something different where I can actually do a long-term trust building business or community building that can, persuade people that, hey, she's not in it for the money. She's actually in it for the trust and the actual love for the space, right? And the projects. And so that's when I actually felt like maybe I could be a rare person, yeah, exactly. That
Brand.
asset or share
Um,
thing.
Yeah.
So that's ironically, that was when I realized maybe I can give a shot here. Although I'm not technical, I think that actually intrigued me to go deeper and build my own brand.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I know that you studied at few amazing universities. You studied at Stanford, at international policy and also international relations at EWAS. How did that background influence your career?
Not directly, to be honest, because, international relations and policy, I don't work in policy here. I could actually, I was thinking about it. Maybe I can like, add more policy edge to my career now, but I actually went into event space, community, right? Which is completely different. But at the same time, it actually helped me in another way because international relations is basically nation states, like learning about nation states, how they operate, how they like governance, like a ton of voting, financial policy, and so forth. And people relations, of course, and like how nation states interact with each other. That's really important. And like guessing what each other is thinking, national, like what is it called, like interests of like each nation, right? And I think like crypto field is also similar in the sense that like each project or layer one is a nation state. Always from 2018, I kind of
Yeah.
thought maybe this is actually similar to what I was actually studying in that sense, like guessing.
All systems have this similar
Yeah,
dynamics, so
incentives,
that's
incentives as
probably what
well.
works.
They want to have their own identity, their own systems, rules, right, and just culture as well. And they have like there's many layer one like competitiveness in between each other. Like, oh, I'm a killer, that kind of thing, right? Like having that mentality and, that dynamics, it really made me think it's actually similar to what I've been learning, like Machiavelli, like I've been learning realism, all these things back in the day.
Yeah.
And maybe, I think that helped me to understand the founder's mentality, also what each ecosystem thinks and how we could, mingle well. Like the UN would be a good idea, a good, you know, idea of like nation states coming together. And similarly, we have like all these like, conferences or some sort of associations. So in that sense, I have a more holistic view of how to see or understand the crypto space. And then that's why I tend to stand neutral to the scene because I don't want to side with a certain protocol. I actually want to be able to understand different dynamics and be more embracing and respectful of different interests and also, goals, I guess. And yeah, I think in that sense, maybe that helps. And communicating as well also helped as well. Like the skill of communicating through like, IRL, but also it could be more indirect, like messaging. I also learned that during my major. And so maybe that could have helped too.
I'm sure that it helps. And yeah, international relations, it's about any kind of relations. That's probably the most valuable thing to find common ground with different people, very different. What was the blockchain and crypto landscape in Korea when you started in 2017 and you started KryptoSeoul?
Actually. But in a way, it was fun because it was like if you gather together, it's like a small group of people, like in the crypto scene. Like Icon, there was Hashed that was like just beginning in 2017-ish. And I remember going to the first event back in Seoul. And like there were these YouTubers that began, like I started like podcasting with them as well to learn about the field. And it's just like one or two players in each each area, but like really trying their best to make it up and build the brand. And there were not many players at all, especially like the layer one projects. Like Icon was the only one that was actually made it global. And yeah, it was a pretty big project, as maybe you know. But aside from that, like really not many people to gather together. So when we would like meet together, it would be a very cute group of people trying to make Korea happen as well and make sure that we're seen and we're can do more global things. Yeah, it was just really like, I don't know, rare like group of people, but super fun to like, and also incentivize and just like inching a lot of inspiration as well. Yeah, I mean, it was a fun scene back then. Yes.
And then you started CryptoPlanet. When did you decide that we need more global brand and we need to
So
scale it?
KryptoSeoul, I founded in 2018, early 2018, and then like went straight until 2023-ish. So like really long run for KryptoSeoul. And I think everybody remembers KryptoSeoul, especially when they do want to do like come to Korea, for example, they would look for me, they would look for KryptoSeoul. That was a very like solid brand building back then because I was physically in Seoul. I was just going nonstop, hosting like builder events like nonstop, like twice every month, like just, week after week. It was pretty crazy. But, and like as a result, it was just like really good accumulation of brand building. And I think I went through most projects back then, like, invited them to Seoul and had them like speak at my events and so forth. It was a very good timing, golden time for me. And when it hit the point where like I had to move. I mean, I moved out of Seoul, and so in 2023, I started to like go more like global events. I tried like to volunteer at different events globally. I was at DEF CON. I mean, I was like a staff. I mean, I was helping out there. I saw different, more definitely bigger pictures, right, and bigger events. Definitely more inspirational mindsets, right? And I thought maybe it's time to go more global because I think my work in Seoul has been kind of done in a way because I've literally been doing all that I can. Yeah, I did everything I
Did
can in a small
everything.
country. And it was really hard to like promote yourself nationally. Back then, it was very intimidating to do anything like out there in the Korean scene. So I was being careful and mindful, and I thought maybe why should I be intimidated? I think I could do more, and I have the skill sets to do more.
Mhm.
I have a ton of network globally, and because there was definitely a limitation or language barrier, cultural barrier, and so forth for local
Mhm.
projects to
Mhm.
make
Mhm.
it outside of Korea, right? It was very hard and still pretty hard too, but I think increasingly it's been better and better. And I want to prove, well, I want to give back as well. If I can make it in Seoul, and I think I can give back to the teams in Seoul too, to kind of like go abroad and then like invite them to the global scene more, get more opportunities for them and so forth. And I can integrate both Korea and global side. And then I moved out of like Korea. I mean, like physically, I had a different home. I'm in Lisbon right now. And that made it also a good incentive to have a more global presence. I was just popping out events everywhere I went. And to test it out, I want to see if my style works. Also, not in Seoul, but also if it works. It just like since 2022, I've been doing Vietnam events. I've been, doing Paris. I've been just all around it. Surprisingly, it went really well. From day one, like 2018, I tried a little things, and then it just worked really well. I started having more bravery and courage to pump out more, and as a result, now it's more global than Seoul right now because I'm more regularly just doing all over like Lisbon and Dubai and so forth. So yeah, and like I think the timing was right, but also my branding was, it was time to kind of go more a different scale and
Mhm.
or route, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of how it worked.
Yeah, and you did it amazingly. I remember I saw you for the first time in Istanbul during Dev Connect in,
Yeah.
I guess it
Yes.
was
Yes.
2023. Yes. I remember you and I was like, "Hmm, she looks so beautiful." Like you were in this like national Korean dress, I guess, or it was some kind of stylization of national dress. And yeah, and you looked amazing. And I
Thank you.
was like, it works very, very good for personal branding to remember you and to stay and stand out from the crowd and be visible. You're doing business around event management, organizing hackathons, conferences, meetups. What do you think? Is it possible to build a community but also make profits?
That's a controversial question. Like, I think everybody is, like ask me about this question, but also like they're asking themselves this question. Honestly, it's hard. Like I'm not lying. Like, I wouldn't lie. It's like, it's definitely hard. It's especially when you want to keep the community brand like in a healthy, in a more like, like organic way, let's say, which I want. Like, I really want a long term, organic, slow building. It's fine. Like, I just don't want to promote open, you know what I mean? I don't want to shill stuff. Yeah. Like, that's just
Shill, yeah.
the least thing I want to do. And that kind of cut down a lot of, a lot of opportunities. But honestly, I think it was a trade-off between brand building, like actual really good brand building and money. And for me, like even now I have to like, sell sponsorships every time. And it is grueling. It is really hard. And as you know, events are really hard. Like really a lot of labor, a ton of scheme,
Energy consuming and
very
nerve
stressful, last
consuming.
minute stuff. It's just a ton of logistics. And I don't know if it's worth doing it unless you really love doing it. And I love doing it. That's why I keep doing it. But if you want it for the money, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. I mean, of course, there are media companies and some, publications that do events to make money. I mean, and they do a fantastic job. But media companies have to earn money, so they turn to events to do it, and they promote on their media channels, which works really well. But that's not my style, and that's not my forte. For them, it works, but for me, that's a community side. It doesn't really work that well. However, like since I've been doing this for 7, 8 years now, the event side, there are like projects and sponsors that say, "Hey, we want to come back. Like we want to sponsor again next year, no matter what. So send us the deck, like as soon as it's ready." That's what a lot of. So after getting that, it's kind of a circulation of previous sponsors. Yeah, retention rate.
Yeah,
Come back,
retention.
so you're more confident to do it again next year. So in that sense, it's been very rewarding to me that keeps me going, to be honest. And namely, I'll name some sponsors, but then and they've been amazing friends too, not just like sponsors relationship, host relationship, but they just been good friends. We trust each other no matter what. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that really keeps me going. And if you have that loop, maybe it could work. But because there are so many like Dev Connect, there's like humongous events happening, like Consensus, there's Token, right? And having a small organic conference brand in between, it is hard. Like it is definitely hard to survive, but somehow it's working. I don't know how it's working, but it's not easy. Let me tell you, yeah, I will definitely emphasize that. Quick money, not the way to go. This is not the way to go.
Yeah, thanks for honest answer and for sharing some insights. I'm sure that people would love to learn. And actually, yeah, as you mentioned at the beginning of your answer, that yeah, asking you, I'm asking myself. Yeah, so you were right. Yeah, you know this. BUIDL Asia has become one of the key community-driven conferences in the region. How was the first edition behind the scenes, and how it differs from Seoul, from CryptoPlanet? So how it differs and how it operates?
So it started in 2018 because I was hosting large size meetups back then in 2017, 2018. People were saying, why don't you do a conference? Like you have all these projects, all these networks. It's so diverse. And it's so big that you just might as well do a conference and just have an annual thing going on. I'm like, maybe that's a good idea. So I started making the brand BUIDL Asia. Yeah. And just started from there, like literally from scratch. No branding, nothing. I just made the entire branding and everything. I look back at the photos. I'm like, hey, we actually had really good speakers back then. Amazing projects. Back then I was very close to the Cosmos ecosystem. So we had a lot of Cosmos projects. We had Jay Kwan, who was the founder of Cosmos, to come over for pretty epic. I don't know. It was awesome back then. In 2019, we had Emin from Avalanche. We had like Toli from Solana. Like it was absolutely amazing and just amazing speakers when I look back. Yeah. And it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, like my previous projects that I had connections with for the meetups, went back to them and say, hey, I want to invite the founder. I want to actually invite back the team. And yeah, it's like really from scratch. It wasn't easy to get sponsorships because I had no reference. I had literally no reference from conferences. And so it was a hard sell from the first one. Always the first one's the hard. Like it's just, there's nothing to show. Well,
Yeah.
how can you show? There's no word of mouth, right? But the first one like barely went through. And then the second one was much easier because people were like, hey, this is great. Like, let's do it again. And then third one, fourth one, like it just kind of snowballed into a more easier route. But yeah, that's how it started. And then ETHSeoul came about years after, actually, 2022, because there was no ETH of any kind in Korea. Like there was no conference. I'm like, why isn't there a conference or hackathon in Korea? It doesn't make sense. So I just made one. Like I'm like, well, if nobody's gonna do it, I'm just gonna create it. I've been pitching all these years, like but please do a DEF CON or Eat Global, but please do ETHSeoul, please. I'll be happy to help. But so far it hasn't happened. So I'm still pretty sad about how Korea's not been the favorite spot. Whereas like Japan, it's always been like there was Osaka, there's Tokyo happening next year for ETH Global. I guess Korea's pretty small. That's how I made ETHSeoul, and like Vitalik has come to ETHSeoul like three times like already, and honestly it's been great. He's been very supportive, like the Ethereum Foundation, they've been always supportive.
Mhm. And now you're planning BUIDL Europe
Yes.
in Lisbon
January.
in
January
December
7th,
or
8th.
January? January.
The first event of the year, of the new year. I mean, there's a reason for this because
So what's planned?
so that's
Planned?
the second one actually. We did the first one early this January, like this year. I did it in January, and I tried it out because I was living in Lisbon. I was like, if I'm living here anyway, I'm physically here, might as well like do a conference. And I know many founders and great teams here. I think it's a great place to have a intersection between regions. So I just did a low key, organic community like conference. It went really well. Like surprisingly, it went so well that I'm like, And people were like, let's bring it back next year. I would love to come back next year. And I'm still in Lisbon, so I'm like, okay, why not? Yeah, and it's getting a little bigger, I guess, because we're doing a hackathon right after that as well in this very space, which is the co-working space that I and the Near Foundation made, which is called the Nest. So we'll be having a AI hackathon during the weekend after BUIDL Europe. But basically, BUIDL Europe is like a sister brand of BUIDL Asia, meaning every region will have a different like BUIDL conference. And actually, next year I plan to do a BUIDL US as well later in the year. So that's kind of how the branding is shaping up. So yeah, BUIDL Europe, the second one coming up.
Will we see BUIDL
I
Antarctica?
hope. I haven't been there yet, but Africa, I mean, I would just, love if I didn't have the kids, I would just go wherever right now. Yeah. But I mean, ideally, I would just love to make things happen at any region that I can.
I imagine just these builders in Arctica. And
Penguins.
like, yeah, maybe they're good builders actually. So you're married to Ilya, the co-founder of Near. How does he help you to shape your vision, or does he help to shape your vision?
That's a better question. Does he actually? I mean, he's really busy, so it's. I don't really depend on his time, right? I mean, because he's just really busy on his own. Like he has a ton of responsibilities on his shoulders. I don't really try to reach out for a ton of help. Actually, for my events, I just invite everybody by myself, and because I actually have a more neutral stand like relationship with all the founders and projects, it makes a more balanced lineup if I like do the invitations myself. Of course, like he helps with some high level people, yes, but rarely I reach out for help. I mean, he's just like in general, he's a founder and technical founder too, so which I cannot be. I'm not technical, so in that sense, he's been like super helpful in getting like the right mindset, maybe some good topics for a technical audience, right? And to shape some agenda, I double check if this actually makes sense. I did the draft and I check like just quickly, like, can you just briefly look at it and see if it actually makes sense? I mean, it's inspiring to see like somebody like grind like that for 6, 7 years now. And so looking at that itself is just inspiration that I should keep going. I should like also like, do my best in whatever I can to support as well. Like it shouldn't be like a one-way thing. I should definitely help to make things happen for him too. Yeah. I try not to impose a burden on his shoulders. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Do you discuss any crypto rumors during your breakfast? Because I discuss with my husband.
Doom scroll on Twitter. We, like look at Twitter as like a casual, like an evening, like just look at Twitter and like share like, hey, look at this, check out this news. So we do, yeah, look
at this
like,
cringe.
like whatever that's funny or cringy, whatever, like just anything that pops up, we share because it saves our time in half, and we don't really need to like look everything by ourselves. So in that sense, it's helpful actually. And the like morning, evening, wherever we just come across something, we're like, okay, well, it's worth sharing. Yeah, it's been very helpful because it cuts my time in half, and like he sees things that I don't see, and like that's been helpful too. So
Yeah, that's funny to have your partner working at the same industry. I have the same case, so we do these things and we
it's
discuss.
inevitable.
We discuss this.
It does happen. How can you not?
Yeah, I agree with you. Can you please share who has influenced your thinking the most? It can be a person or someone outside of crypto or in crypto.
And I guess, I mean, Ilya definitely influenced recently. Like he just turned my like mindset upside down because I mean, not just like in work ways, but I think in general, like how I see life, how I see things. I'm definitely more chill person than like before because of him. And I've learned how to be chill, relatively chill, because I'm a very uptight person. Like I'm Korean, so like, Koreans work really intensively, competitive, and like when I was living in Korea, I was like the most anxious, kind of a, competitive, super, like tense person, trying to do everything perfect. So it was this really like nonstop of that, like piling after another, which was good because I can like overachieve things, like thanks to Ilya and how he's thinking about things. He's very chill in general. So despite all the things that's going on in his empire, it's been like I don't know how he stays chill. Like he never gets angry. I never seen him yell like one time. And so like that really inspired me to become a more peaceful, yeah, enjoy life. Like every day is a new day. Like you refresh yourself and like you don't, blame people. And I think it's been really helpful for my mental stability, which I actually really need the most right now. Like I care less about, financial stability. I care more about my whole well-being, right? At this age, and my status is just, nonstop things going on.
Yeah.
Really keep my brain together, my mind together. And he's been the most like influential and helpful to get that like straightened out. Still working on it, but it's been amazing. Like throughout the years.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And yeah, taking into account Ilya's origin, he's Ukrainian, I'm Ukrainian. I know that like any challenge, I don't know, thing on your way, it's just a thing, and there are more scary things than some troubles or some challenges in business. So that's the mindset. You mentioned a bit about the nest, but maybe you can explain how do you see the growth of this place and what the potential you see in
Sure.
Lisbon.
I mean, I'm not a local, so it's definitely limiting from expats perspective, who's been living here for 2 years and hosting events here, right? Maybe, I mean, I could definitely share. We did open a co-working space in Lisbon. I mean, right now I'm here, called the Nest. There was a lack of spaces where we can gather together and actually work together, but actually like do some work, as like many solid teams are based here, especially like founders are based here. I think due to the characteristic of our industry where everyone is traveling all the time, including me and Ilya, we were rarely at home. Like we're rarely at home. And if we're at home, we don't want to go out. Like we're kind of hermits, right? We just work at home. We just want to enjoy home. I'm sure everyone relates to this. So when I arrived in Lisbon, I'm like, why is it so quiet? Like, but I know that everyone is based here, but why is it like nobody really comes out? So I started hosting events, like small like brunches, and I pulled everybody out like one by one. I'm like, I know you're home, I know, but let's reconnect. And so I pulled literally everyone out one by one. I have a huge group chat of like 150 people who's, like active group chat, who's based in Lisbon, who's doing amazing work, who are mainly founders or developers, builders, like really good curated group. Like I found this pleasant surprise that I found so many founders that are hidden in their homes, but they're amazing founders. And they're all in Lisbon, like, or Portugal, just in general. They're in Porto, they're in Cascais, which is like right next door to Lisbon. So in that sense, I would definitely like recommend Portugal as a must visit place. And also taxes wise, can't complain. I mean, I don't know too many details, but I know that tax wise, it's been amazing to crypto founders. It's weather's amazing here. Very chill. And considering our hectic lives, I think the environment is actually therapeutic. Nobody's angry. Everyone's just happy. And so the beach, the forest, everything's here. So in that sense, it's great for people to chill, enjoy each other's presence. I see people who actually move from New York to Lisbon. There's many cases like this, and like they're amazing people. They were discovering Lisbon with me as well. So it's been just great. And yeah, so far it's been quite a journey, but in a good way.
You're a mom and that you gave a birth recently. So can you please share how this experience influences your career
Yeah,
or
sure.
decision making?
So I'm a mom of four in total. So when I started crypto, I was a mom of two. I already started as a mom entering crypto, which is as hard as it can get, to be, to be honest. It was definitely a grueling, hard journey because crypto is like requires a ton of time 24/7. Nothing is stopping. And time zone wise, everyone's everywhere. Like, I got
Yeah.
basically no sleep for how many years? Now that I have a newborn, so I have no sleep now. Again, one is 14 months and one is 1 month, right? Just turned to like 2 months now. Being a mother definitely changed my priorities a lot. Mainly, time is gold. Every minute of my time of the day is gold for me. I would like prioritize what is important, what adds value to my day. If I like commit to something, I would do my best. And so that's kind of my way of thinking because it's a trade off. So I could do childcare all day, like 24/7 and not work. I could do that. And that's like two kids. It's a full time job, more than a full time job, to be honest. But I chose to work, right? I chose to do this podcast. I chose to host a conference. So it's a trade off of my time, just time with my kids to work. And if I'm going to do that, to the work, it's a trade off. It's sad for me, but if I'm going to work, I'm going to like do my best, like grind, whatever. I'll give it my all. I wouldn't drink I wouldn't go to after parties. I would not drink. I would not like slack off. I would just go back to my hotel room and work if I'm going to travel.
Yeah.
Back in the day, in 2019, something like that, I would travel like 2 days, 2 nights, 3 days, not like to US from Korea. I would sleep on the plane, not sleep during the travel, and like literally just like do nonstop. And then do networking compressed way and then just go back. So I would like literally condense everything and do an event
Yeah.
like in that time frame. So, like it just, yeah, that like broke me in half, but like I made it happen somehow. And I did that for many years. And so like I'm trained to think in that perspective. Or like, okay, like if I get off the plane, I'm just gonna like, dope, like, it's straight into intense mode and just pump everything out. I produce as much as I can. I pump out as much as I can, and then I won't regret the time that I was away from my kids. Basically, that's how I think about it. But I try to do both. But of course, there's a limitation, and you have to kind of compromise to some degree. I'm privileged to able to do both things at the same time, and yeah. So yeah, it's been hard. A lot of life learnings, a lot of like achievements, but in a good way. Like it's been working out for me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this experience. I'm sure it would be valuable to any woman and any man, actually, because men should know what women sacrifice and what they do to be both business women or employees and moms. So, especially when you have four kids.
Yes.
It's huge. Erica, you've been highlighted as a woman in Web3 changemaker. What has actually worked to bring more women to tech and to the Web3 industry?
Setting an example, I think that always helps. Like I didn't have a role model, to be honest, because I was literally the first, like one of the first women to actually have a brand of their own in crypto. I didn't have a female role model. I mean, I just kind of went from scratch, nothing. There was no distinction of men and women. I don't want to make the distinction. I just want to play fair and just go fair. And I would not even compare like, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm not like I'm being discriminated. I wouldn't think that. I would just be like, I'm just not good at my job. So I would work harder to level up and I would do better. I would always think that way. And I think it's more healthier if you think that way. Because like honestly, discrimination is
Yeah.
inevitable. I mean, it will happen no matter what. And if you think that way, it's gonna bring you down more and more, I think, and just discourage more and more. So it's actually better to think in the same level as men. Just, men or women doesn't matter. Just gonna be the same playing field. And so I wouldn't even tell them like, oh, I have kids. I was like, okay, I have a ton of time. I can like make things happen. So just give me whatever. That's how I would sell myself at back in the day. For the women, like, it it helps to make a example. So use that example. You make things happen, and then you can like give some inspiration to younger women. And that's why I do Soul Summit, because like I think Korean women who are intimidated, it's hard to like break out of their shell. It's really hard because of the cultural, social pressure and stuff like this. For me to kind of like, not just me, but a lot of like bold women who go global, who, make themselves heard. It definitely gave a lot of like courage to the younger students, also aspiring leaders, and I just give them a chance to share how they did it and how you could approach it, how you can make things better and stuff like that. So having mentors actually really help. I think like I do a lot of mentors, like just casual mentorship sessions, just, like call and check up, and they reach out and they ask for some call, and I happily, accept it, because like I wish I had one back then. And so I kind of, if I can do things for that can help, I would definitely do it. I talk to a lot of Korean women, not just Korean, but just other like younger women who ask about how to juggle life and work, babies. A lot of questions about that. A lot of questions about the baby.
Yeah.
I got a lot of testimony that I've been helping them, like their like perspective and priorities, and giving more courage and so forth. So yeah, I think that really helps. Like one that leads to another and kind of piles up, and so it becomes a movement, and people feel comfortable about this. Also, like since I host the events myself and I organize like BUIDL Asia and everything, I think they feel like women feel comfortable attending events that are organized by women, right? Like I think because
Yeah, of
tone,
course.
it's more like friendly. No offense, but it is it is more lovely. When I see
Yeah.
other women come in,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
genuinely just happy to see them, and I just like want to just hug them, right? I think they just have a great time, and they bring other friends. They come with their other girlfriends, right? And I think so. Like previously, my BUIDL Asia conferences, the gender ratio has been like so good, and like everyone loves it because it's such a welcoming experience. And yeah, I think it's been helpful. So a lot of women organizers, that'd be awesome, because like they know what to satisfy. They know what to do. Like sorry men, but I mean I'm not discriminating here. Like it just give a little touch sometimes. I think for women to feel welcomed and happy, and I don't know. Just
Yeah, and this attention to details, this vibe you always feel and see. There was at least one woman or two women in the team, and you always see that it helps to make it more interesting, more creative, more engaging, and
yes.
with the care of people, and to take care of these details. Okay, thank you, Erica. Thanks for sharing your experience. It was insightful, it was valuable, and I'm sure that a lot of listeners of this episode would be happy to learn from you. I'll leave Erica's link under this episode so you can follow her and see what's happening with BUIDL Europe, BUIDL Asia, and a lot of other things and events around Erica and her brand. So thanks again, and
Thank you so
see you next
much.
time.
Thank you for having me.